Very good morning, students. Welcome to biology classes. Today we are going to see 12th science biology and we are going to start with the new chapter, that is chapter 13, organisms and population, right? In this chapter we are going to study about different types of ecology, right? What are the factors which are affecting the ecology, which are the organisms and how the populations are maintained. So first we will see about the introductory part of this chapter and then we will shift to the main topics of this, right? So ecology deals with the interaction among different organisms and their environment. So the first definition says about the ecology that ecology, what it deals with the interaction, right? Interaction among different organisms and their environment. So different organisms and their environments, right? So whatever interaction which is observed of different organisms in respect with the environment, that is known as ecology, right? Now the organisms get adapted to their environment for their survival and reproduction. So the organisms needs to adapt to the environment for two reasons. First is for the surviving, right? That is the survival, and second is for the reproduction part. So the two things is very necessary for continuity of the species, right? First is the survival and second is reproduction. And for this two of the like this two of the factors, right, that is surviving and the reproduction, this two of them, they are being achieved by the organisms when they adapt to a particular environment, right? Now the rotation of earth about its axis brings about changes in the environment leading to different seasons, right? This leads to the formation of various biomes such as desert, grasslands, etc., right? So now what happens, as you know that here the earth rotates on its axis, right? So when the earth rotates on its axis, right, several changes are observed in the environment, and when these changes are observed, right, this leads to different seasons, right? Now you are undergoing three different types of seasons in your lifestyle into the in the whole year, right? That is first, that is coming, that is winter, then monsoon season, that is rainy season, and the third is the summer, right? So this three of the seasons, they are changing because the earth rotates on its axis. So when the earth rotates on its axis, what happens, the environmental condition changes, and when the environmental condition changes, it leads to different biomes, right? So that means it forms different types of biomes in which the different types of organisms live. So different types of biomes, they may be desert, they may be grasslands, right? So these are different types of biomes which are being formed based upon the different type of environmental changes which are occurring. Now the life not only exists in favorable habitats but also in harsh and extreme conditions, right? So it is not that only in the favorable conditions only or in the favorable habitats only the organisms live. There is also presence of so many of organisms, right, in also like harsh, or we can say the extreme conditions, right? So the environment of an organism can be divided into two parts. The first is the abiotic factors and the second one is the biotic factors. So these are the two factors, right? That is the environment, right? So particular organisms environment is divided into two parts. First is the abiotic factors, second is biotic factors. First we will see about the abiotic factors. Now there are several major abiotic factors which interacts with the organisms. So in that, the first is the temperature, right? Abiotic means they are not living, right? They are devoid of life, right? So that those are said to be the abiotic factors. So the first factor is the temperature, and it is the most relevant abiotic factors since all organisms require an optimum temperature for their metabolism and other body functions. Now to carry out the body functions and to carry out the metabolism, that is catabolic and anabolic activities, right? A particular organism, it needs what, a optimum temperature. That means a proper amount of temperature which needs to be balanced inside the body in order to carry out all the body functions, right? So depending upon their ability to tolerate the temperature range, the organisms are of two types, right? So there are two types of organisms. on the basis of the temperature. That means how much temperature that particular organism can tolerate, right? First is the stenothermal organisms, and second is the eurythermal organism. Stenothermal organisms, they are restricted to a narrow range of temperature. That means if lower temperatures are there, right, those stenothermal organisms can resist in those type of temperatures. Eurythermal, they can tolerate a wide range of temperature. That means if more temperature, right, that means if more temperature is then eurythermal organisms, they can resist and they can tolerate in those type of temperatures. The examples over here which is given is, first is the mango trees cannot grow in temperate countries like Canada and Germany, where snow leopards are not found in Kerala forests. Tuna fish are rarely caught beyond tropical latitudes and oceans. So these are the examples of the two, that is mango trees, as they can grow in temperate temperate countries, right? Sorry, mango cannot grow in temperate countries. Like for example, it can normally grow in the India, like just we are living here, right? But it is not growing in Canada or Germany because over there the temperature is quite different from here. Then snow leopards, they are not found in Kerala forest. Why? Because in Kerala forest, what is there? It is not a snowy temperature, right? That means the temperature over in the Kerala forest is comparatively different, right? So the snow leopards cannot resist or they cannot tolerate the temperature which is present in the Kerala forest, right? Tuna fish is also one example where they are rarely caught beyond tropical latitudes in the ocean, right? They are rarely found or they are rarely seen in this tropical oceans, or we can say latitudes in ocean. So this is about the first type of abiotic factor, and that is temperature. Second one is water. Now water also is a major influencing factor. Now you know that just like temperature, water is also very important, right? And it is one of the major influencing factor when we are talking about the uh, ecology, or we can say we are talking about the different types of habitats, right? Different types of environmental conditions. Life on Earth is impossible without water, as it forms the major constituent of all the living cells. Now, as you know that your half of the body part is made up of water only, right? So it can be said that the major constituent of all the body of the living cells, right, is what? Water. So without water, life is not possible, right? So for this reason, life is, for surviving and for resisting, you need what? Water. Now, in oceans, where quantity of water is not a limitation, the quality of water becomes one. Now, you know that in oceans, there is so much of quantity of water is present, but there you cannot utilize that water for your daily use, right? So, in the water's quantity does not matter, but the quality matters, right? That means whether you can take it up or whether you can use it up or not, right? So in oceans where where plenty of water is there, but you cannot use it, right? There are several limitations, that it is very salty and other few reasons. But while we are talking that whatever water you are intaking in your daily basis, right? That is what the quality is comparatively different than the ocean water, right? So depending upon the ability to tolerate the salinity. Now you know that the main difference in the two different types of waters will be what? The amount of salt which is present inside it. So normally the fresh waters, they are containing less amount of salinity, that is the salt, while when we are talking about the ocean waters, it is comparatively having a major amount of salt concentration, right? So depending upon the ability of tolerating the salinity, the organisms can be divided into two parts, right? Just like in temperature, how much temperature they are tolerating, based upon that they were divided into two parts. Same way here, based upon the tolerance of the salinity, the organisms can be divided into two parts. First is stenohaline and second is euryhaline, right? So if the narrow range of salinity is there, right? So they are stenohaline, And if they are tolerant to the wider range of the salinity, then they are urine halide, right? So this is about the second abiotic factor, and that is water. Third is soil, right? Now the nature and the composition of soil differs from one place to another depending upon the climate, weathering process, and soil development method, right? So here what happens? The soil is another major abiotic component which is responsible, right, for carrying out the environmental changes. So here what happens when the nature and the composition of the soil differs? See, not the whole land is made up of a same or similar type of soil. There are so many different types of soils which are differing from each other in the on the basis of nature as well as its constitution, right? That means how it is made, it is also different, as well as the nature of that particular soil is also different. So based upon the place, based upon the area, the soil differs, right? And also the soil differs, or they are different from each other depending upon the climatic conditions, right? That is what exactly the climatic conditions are. So based upon climate also the soil changes, as well as the weathering process, right? For how the weather, what is the weather, and is it it is favorable to the soil or not. And the third one is the soil development method, whether you are undergoing a proper soil development method or not. So these are the three main criterias, right, on which on basis of this the soil differs from one place to another. Next is the characteristic features of such as soil composition, grain size, percolation, water holding capacity, etc., determine the nature of organisms that can support. Now all organisms cannot live in all the different types of soil, right? So the soil, how the soil, what is the soil composition, what is the grain size, what is the percolation, what is the water holding capacity of that particular soil. Based upon all these things, right, based upon all these features, the particular organisms live in that. Some organisms, they are favorable with the soil composition, but if they are not having proper water holding capacity, then also the organisms cannot live over there, right? So determining that what exactly a particular organism needs a particular type of soil. So based upon all this criteria, the organisms live in different types of soil, and then it produces or it gives a proper amount of product, right? So this is about the third type of abiotic factor, and that is soil. Fourth one is light, right? Now light is also one of the major source of uh, changes which are taking place, right? And the light which we get on earth, it is from the sun, right? And light is said to, it is very essential for the plants as they perform photosynthesis in respect with the light. So for the occurrence of the photosynthesis, the plants need what? Light. Now, certain plants become adapted to perform photosynthesis under very low light since they are constantly overshadowed by tall trees. Now, in the hilly regions, what happens? As there is normally the tall trees, what they do is, as there is overlapping of those trees on each other, what happens? Normally the overshadowed regions are observed. So some plants, what they are favorable with, they are favorable with such kind of low intensity light, or we can say the very low light is there, then also they can perform photosynthesis. But some plants, they need proper amount of light to perform photosynthesis. So this is the difference, that in plants also, some plants, they are coming under they are coming under that they need less light to perform photosynthesis, while other needs more. Next is, many plants also depend on light for their flowering, that is for the photoperiodism. So for getting the flowers and for carrying out the photoperiodism also, so many plants, they are dependent on the plants, right? Sorry, they are dependent on the light. And the last point is about the availability of the light on land is comparatively higher than that in water. So here normally on the land the light directly is reachable. But when we are talking about water, based upon the depth of the water, the light intensity or the light availability is also decreasing. If it is not that much deeper water, then light easily can pass. But if the waters are much deeper, then it takes much longer time, as well as it becomes so much it becomes so hard that it reaches till the depth. So this is about the fourth type of the abiotic factor, right? So here we complete about the four different types of abiotic factors, right? So based upon this abiotic factors, right, the environment of the organism is decided. So the organism is being affected, right? That means they are being interacting with the organism, that the environment is interacting with the organism with this four abiotic factors. In the next lecture we will see about the responses as well as the biotic factors. I hope you are very clear with today's topic, and I hope to see you again. Thank you.